Hi, Irene. I have this calculation now that we can work on with our Cal, our A, and our D. So what I try to remember is we need the percentages of compatibility. Whoops, I didn't write that very well. Compatibility. Or in other words, we need the percentages of what we need. So what we need. So we know the incidence of Cal is 9%. Okay. We know the incidence of A is, do we have this? Sorry. Whoops. I think I have that right. Let me go back to our question and make sure we have this. I have the right numbers precisely from, oh, goodness sakes. There we go. 40%, yes, 40%. A is a 40% incidence, and D is an 85% incidence. So let's go with incidence. Okay? Okay. Incidence on all of these. Okay? Incidence. Okay? So what we want, let's take a look at this Cal. What do we want? So it's a 9% incidence, but our patient has anti-Cal. Okay? So we don't want units with Cal. So remember how I said two of what we need. So we need the other 91%. Now, interestingly enough, this is a tricky part of the question. With A, the patient is A. Patient is A. Okay? So we want A. So this is where we don't convert. We want, we'll put a decimal in front of these, the 0.4. So we want the 40. Okay? And the patient is also Rh negative. Okay? So we don't want the 85% with D. We want the 15 without. Okay? And then we also want 2 units. 2 units. So our calculation here, we have our 2 units on the top, and then we take our 0.91 multiplied by our 0.40 and multiplied by our 0.15. And so when we do that, my handy little calculator here, I did do this. I'm going to do it again. Okay, 0.4 and then times 0.15, and you can do this too. And then now we're going to have a 0.0546 on the bottom, our 2 units on the top. And then so now we need to take that 2 divided by the 0.0546, and then we get an answer of 36.6. And this is why the range then on the exam for the correct answer is 36 to 37 units. Okay, so I hope that helps a little bit. This was, to me, the tricky part of that equation. And then the next one we talked about is the titer in association with RhoGAM and that antenatal dose at 28 weeks. Okay, and I did look this one up. It's in the book we use, and so your typical titer after delivery. So this is a titer. Oops, I'm so sorry. Titer post delivery is usually not greater than 1 to 4. Okay, so even with that other one, I think the question gave us a titer of 1 to 64, was much lower than the 1,068 we were looking at. It's still not in accordance to what's typical with a RhoGAM. So a RhoGAM titer, what you're going to find is 1 to 4 or less. Okay. 4 or less. So it doesn't exceed 1 to 4. So these ones over here are definitely above that, and so they would be attributed to anti-D. So I hope that helps. Feel free to email me if you have any additional questions.